Hello everyone, I am Dr. Nilanjana Bhattacharya Nath from Swami Vivekananda Institute of Modern Science. Today, my topic is fluid mosaic model of plasma membrane. We all know that various authors have given various models and concepts for the presence and structure of plasma membrane. For example, Danieli and Dawson's sandwich model, Robertson's unit membrane model. But fluid mosaic model proposed by Singer and Nicholson is the most accepted of them all. In this video, I shall discuss about the basic structure, component and function of fluid mosaic model. Let's start with a brief introduction. The fluid mosaic model was first proposed by S. J. Singer and G. L. Nicholson in the year 1972 to explain the structure of the plasma membrane. The fluid mosaic model is one way of understanding biological membranes consistent with most experimental observations. This model states that the components of a membrane such as proteins or glycolipids form a mobile mosaic in the fluid-like environment created by a sea of phospholipids. There are restrictions to lateral movements and subdomains within the membrane have specific functions. Next, components. The plasma membrane or cell membrane is primarily made up of three main things. These are lipids, proteins, and carbohydrates. But generally, we all know as the basic components of plasma membrane are phospholipid, cholesterol, proteins, and under the proteins there are two categories, integral proteins and peripheral proteins, and last one, that is carbohydrates, and mostly carbohydrates are found as glycoproteins or glycolipids. Next, phospholipids. The main fabric of the membrane is composed of amphiphilic or dual-loving phospholipid molecules. The head is a phosphate molecule that is attracted to water, that means hydrophilic in nature. The two tails are made up of fatty acids, that is chains of carbon atoms. They are not compatible with or repel water. It means they are hydrophobic. The phosphate heads in each layer face the aqueous or watery environment on either side, and the tails hide away from the water between the layers of heads because they are hydrophobic. Biologists call this neat assembling characteristic as self-assembly. A phospholipid molecule consists of a 3-carbon glycerol backbone with 2 fatty acid molecules attached to carbon 1 and 2 and a phosphate containing group attached to the 3rd carbon. The phosphate head has a polar character or negative charge and the fatty acid tails has no charge. When placed in water, hydrophobic molecules tend to form a ball or cluster. The hydrophilic regions of the phospholipids tend to form hydrogen bonds with water and other polar molecules on both the exterior and interior of the cell. Thus, the membrane surfaces that face the interior and exterior of the cell are hydrophilic. Next, protein. Proteins make up the second major component of plasma membranes. The cell is made up of two different types of proteins, as I have mentioned before. One is integral proteins, another is peripheral proteins. Integral proteins are, as their name suggests, integrated completely into the membrane structure, and their hydrophobic membrane spanning regions interact with the hydrophobic region of the phospholipid bilayer. Integral proteins are helpful for transporting larger molecules like glucose across the cell membrane. These proteins form channels and pores that allow the movement of large or polar molecules across the hydrophobic segment of membrane. The other class of protein is called peripheral proteins, which do not extend across the membrane. They can be attached to the ends of integral proteins or not and help with transport or communication. Next, carbohydrate. Carbohydrates are the third major component of plasma membranes. They are always found on the exterior surface of cells and are bound either to proteins forming glycoproteins or to lipids forming glycolipids. These carbohydrate chains may consist of 2 to 60 monosaccharide units and can be either straight or branched. Along with peripheral proteins, carbohydrates form specialized sites on the cell surface that allow cells to recognize each other. This recognition function is very important to cells as it allows the immune system to differentiate between body cells and the foreign cells or tissues. These carbohydrates on the exterior surface of the cell, that is, the glycoprotein or glycolipids, are collectively referred to as the glycocalyx. It means sugar coating. The glycocalyx is highly hydrophilic and attracts large amounts of water to the surface of the cell. This aids in the interaction of the cell with its watery environment and in the cell's ability to obtain substances dissolved in the water. Next, cholesterol. The presence of cholesterol in the phospholipid layer allows the membrane to retain its permeability and integrity even in varying temperatures. It appears to be inserted in the middle of phospholipids. Cholesterol prevents the compaction of the hydrophobic tails at low temperatures as well as the expansion of the membrane under heat. This way, small molecules like carbon dioxide and oxygen can always move freely across the membrane, while the cell retains its selective permeability for larger molecules. Next, what makes the cell membrane fluid? If you were to zoom in on the cell membrane, you would see a pattern of different types of molecules put together. This is basically known as mosaic. These molecules are constantly moving in two dimensions in a fluid fashion, similar to icebergs floating in the ocean. The movement of the mosaic of molecules makes it impossible to form a completely impenetrable barrier. There are multiple factors that lead to membrane fluidity. Three main factors that influence cell membrane fluidity are number 1, temperature, number 2, saturated and unsaturated fatty acids, and number 3, cholesterol. So first I will be discussing about the temperature. The temperature will affect how the phospholipids move and how close together they are found. When it's cold, they are found closer together, and when it's hot, they move further apart. Next, saturated and unsaturated fatty acids. Saturated fatty acids are chains of carbon atoms that have only single bonds between them. As a result, the chains are straight and easy to pack tightly. Unsaturated fats are chains of carbon atoms that have double bonds between some of the carbons. The double bonds create kinks in the chains, making it harder for the chains to pack tightly. These kinks play a role in membrane fluidity because they increase the space between the phospholipids. In addition, the increased space allows certain small molecules such as carbon dioxide and oxygen to cross the membrane quickly and easily. Last one is cholesterol. In animals, the third factor, that is cholesterol, keeps the membrane fluid. Cholesterol functions as a buffer, preventing lower temperatures from inhibiting fluidity and preventing higher temperatures from increasing fluidity too much. Cholesterol extends in both directions, the range of temperature in which the membrane is approximately fluid and consequently functional. Composed of a phospholipid bilayer with embedded proteins, the plasma membrane is selectively permeable to ions and organic molecules and regulates the movement of substances in and out of cells. The spaces created by the membrane's fluidity are incredibly small, so it is still an effective barrier. For this reason, the ability of proteins to help with transport across the membrane. Cell membranes are called semi-permeable. If the cell is represented by a castle, the plasma membrane is the wall that provides structure for the buildings inside the wall, regulates which people live and enter the castle, and conveys messages to and from neighboring castles. Just as a hole in the wall can be a disaster for the castle, a rupture in the plasma membrane causes the cell to lyse and die. Thank you.